See, the thing is, I'm not the best influence, even though I want to be an Instagram influencer. Um,
You gotta stick your butt out. You gotta anteriorly tilt your hips.
yeah. I see. The thing is, if Stan Efforting ever listens to this podcast, if you do already, Stan, just make sure you mute the next 5 seconds. But I religiously watch TV right before bed, so uh, it's probably not good anyways. But I still, yeah, I don't notice a difference. I think being home from work has improved sleep quite a bit anyways, because we don't have to I don't have to wake up an hour and a half before work just to get to work on time.
Yeah.
And I don't have to shower right away. I don't need to rush out of the house. I don't need to catch a train. So a lot of it's
You don't even have to get dressed unless you're doing a WebEx, and it's just like neck down to hips.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say I still try to keep the same morning routine, but like if I want to like stay up a little bit later and like wake up 10 minutes before my shift, like I can now. So it's like it's different. Like I could take a shower midday and not have to worry about it. Like, I'm saying, like, if I might take a bike ride during work or a walk or run or whatever where I'm getting sweaty, well, I might as well get sweaty and then just take a shower like before I finish work, and then like, have dinner and stuff. But like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe it's just I'm drinking water way less, but I used to go to the bathroom like twice in a night.
Yeah.
Now it's like barely one. Like last night I slept like a full 8 hours or 7 hours.
I don't even remember. Like, it's probably been years since I've done that. I like always wake up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, so I've been trying to stop drinking water. Like, it depends on what I'm doing, obviously, but like I try to stop before like 8:30. Like I try not, like if I do after 8 or 8:30, I take sips, like sips, like just like little sips, like if I'm feeling thirsty. But honestly, I just can't do it anymore, man. It's hard getting up, and we're in Sam's parents' house, so I don't have the luxury of a master bathroom anymore. So I have to walk like 15 feet to a bathroom. Yeah. So in the dark, you know how it is, but your bath is probably right next to your room, anyways.
Nope, it's not. It's like a 15, 20 foot walk.
Oh, really? I
do the bodybuilder shuffle because like my legs like feel heavy and all that stuff from like squats or whatever. So I'm just like. Oh god. And I like bump into shit and I like knock stuff off the wall. I'm just like, oh, sorry neighbor.
Before we get
neighbor, I'm sorry.
Before we get into the nitty gritty, before we even start the state, as you guys can tell, we're already started already. We're doing things a little bit different. We're keeping it interesting. Quick question / serious question / a little TMI question. When you are going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, we had this discussion in his household. Because you are a guy, you declare yourself as a male.
Declared.
Do you turn on the light in the bathroom? That's the first question. And second,
absolutely not.
Do you sit down or stand up? Do you take the risk or you sit down?
Oh, come on. Dude, I've like woken up in the morning. I've just like looked at a puddle on the floor and been like, what have I done?
Yes, I'm glad you're the same way as me, because like some people will tell me, they're like, no, first off, you don't turn the light on. You don't want to wake yourself up. Second off, you just sit down. And I'm like, I just
wake yourself up.
Wing it.
It's too much damn effort to turn on the light switch. You're lucky I can pull down my underpants.
So I'm glad we got that answer figured out before we get started. Roman's back, guys. I didn't even post about it because Roman deserved a break, man. This guy, he gets overworked. He's a humble guy. He's never gonna tell you he's that busy, or he's never gonna be like, hey, I can't do it anymore. He's always grinding. But this guy took off a week. He went back to the motherland. I mean, Russia, that is. I mean, no. I mean, Massachusetts, sorry.
Mother Russia.
Was it Massachusetts or Russia?
Yeah, Massachusetts, Russia.
But dude, how are you doing, man? How was it just to go back and just like take the week off and just enjoy yourself? How was it, buddy?
It was insane. It was so good. I needed it. I was like so burnt out. But talking to Laura's brother, my partner's brother, he's like, people are like, oh, are you burnt out? I hear you're like working 100 hours. He's like, yeah, I've been working 100 hours every week for like the past like, X amount of months. He's like, I'm so far past burnt out. I'm like, over 100 hours, Adam? Like, that's insane. So, my meager like 50 hours or whatever the heck I was doing, plus, the time I was volunteering for CDW was like, I was like, man, I'm like a little.
You don't mind me asking.
He's a captain for a boating company.
Jack Sparrow?
Yeah, pretty much.
So he knows the Jack Sparrow.
It is like a stunning resemblance.
Wait, is he really a captain?
Yeah, isn't that dope?
Dude, that is dope. Does he have like is it like commercial, or is it like for like food?
No, he has his commercial captain's license. So like the private company he works for, they'll like transport things from like Falmouth or like the Cape to like the Vineyard. So they'll transport either like goods or they'll transport like bodies. So mostly dead bodies, but we'll keep that under the wraps. Just don't tell anybody, Gainz Nation.
Can you imagine being like man? That is interesting. I don't like water that much. I like going in water. I like going 5-10 feet in water. I don't like swimming at all. I like water. I like the beach, but like, can you imagine? Like that's a lot.
It's a lot. He loves it. He loves like he's so knowledgeable about like marine stuff. He'll talk to you like he'll give you a lesson on it essentially. Yeah, it's really interesting.
I was gonna quote that like tiger shark reference from Jaws, but I'm not. As I say, Sam would probably kill me if I butchered a Jaws reference. If she loves Jaws.
You gotta come check out the Cape then, man. There's like a lot of like silly memorabilia that still references Jaws. Like there's a putt place in I think it's off of was it Route 28 in Yarmouth that has like a picture of like this giant shark like eating its way through a restaurant. It's pretty cool.
So like the buildings like resembled like Jaws, but does it like say Jaws anywhere? Or?
I don't think it references it. It's like it's just supposed to be like implied. It looks like an old like fish shack type deal, like a sketchy fish shack. And then they have like this massive shark. Just like its head is like sticking, like it like bashed its way through the restaurant. It's sticking out of the restaurant.
If you want to talk about sketchy fish restaurants, go to Chinatown in Chicago on 22nd Street and like almost Halsted, like just east of Halsted. I forgot what it's called. Lawrence's fish and chicken. No, I think it's like Lawrence's shrimp or Lawrence's fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is sketchy.
Speaking of Chinatown and fish, probably the most interesting store to date that I've been in. This was like back in 2008 or 2009, way back when. Throwing it back to the 2000s.
How old are you? Like 25 already?
No, yeah, right. Oh my god, I think I was like 17 or something. So we're walking around Chinatown in Boston, and you like
17.
Yeah, 17.
2008. Oh yeah. I guess you're right.
All
right, go ahead. You're sorry about that.
So like you go underneath this this storefront, and it says like something like, "Oh, get your fish here," and you're like, "Oh, cool. Like let's go check out like the little like goldfish." So we go in. It's a porn shop. They sell porn and fish.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm dead serious.
That is the best.
One rack is just like nudie mags. Another rack is like fish. Another rack is like nudie videos.
Wait, are you talking like fish, like movies and magazines, or like actual fish?
Like actual fish, like live goldfish.
Like pets, right?
Yes, it's a pet. It's a pet fish and porn shop.
Why did they just call it a P&P?
I don't know. Maybe they should. Oh man, it's the funniest place. We were like, what the heck are we witnessing right now?
Well, thank you guys for your time. That is episode 38. Well, good seeing you. It's been 2 weeks. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. But no, dude, this is
Catch on this next one.
episode 38, guys. And just want to throw that out there for you people thinking that. I mean, I know Roman's a humble guy, but like sometimes I gotta prove you guys wrong. Because we're on episode 38, and because Roman took off last week, that was the first Friday we've missed since the Gainz podcast started. So all I gotta say is, you guys, we're still coming at you hard. I mean, 1 week out of the whole time, and how many? Yeah, 37 weeks, bro. We went strong.
The pandemic for our listeners.
Yeah, dude, we almost went like a full year without missing a scheduled date. Yeah, I mean, some of them were released on Saturday and Sunday. Don't you people? Those are the people. I'm not referring to you. I'm talking about the people that like, dude, these guys, man, they just don't post enough. Yeah, but we're here every Friday, and I got rats as roommates. All right, so episode 38, dude. Roman, can you give them... Well, first off, I'm Antoine, and this is...
Roman.
And, Roman, what are we talking about today? What is the episode all about, besides us rattling along for 10 minutes?
So we're chit-chatting about, like, what the next episode should be, and I was thinking, like, I don't think we ever went over, like, what our stance is for, like, how to properly work out. Like, what you and I would do, like, working out. I was like, that's pretty pivotal information. Like, people can do it differently, but I've, like, in my years, like, in the gym, I've definitely found, like, and refined, like, my, like, my habits. And especially since, like, I've been, I'd definitely say, like, dedicated to the gym, like, just as, like, a solo pursuit, as opposed to having, like, because I've been, like, in and out of the gym for, like, the past 14 plus years. But I'd always do something else. Like, I'd also, like, play a sport. So that would, like, interfere. I'd, like, also be, like, training for, like, a road race. Or I'd be, like, training for, like, some sort of other, like, event. So, like, those, like, always
road
interfered.
Race?
Yeah. I've done a little bit of running in my past.
Oh.
Like a run.
I thought you were a little fatty in high school. What are you trying to, like, tell me? They're two different stories?
I was pretty jacked. Not as big as I am now, but...
So you were a jacked running football machine?
Yes, that's me.
Wow. Go on. I want to hear more.
But we never, like, went over, like, how to work out, how we would structure workouts. So that's what we got for you today, how to work out. We're going to cover what you do once you're, like, first get in the gym, like, warming up. We're going to cover, like, the warm-ups before you get into your working sets. What's a working set? What would be considered a working set? How to move and how to structure your workouts, and then getting into, like, a cool down or stretch session. Some people like to do a burnout. I've never really been a huge fan of that. Sometimes they'll do it based off of, like, whatever, like, the needs are, based off of constraints, time, etc. But that's what we're bringing to you today, folks. So if you're interested in how we work out, how we would structure a workout, and what we recommend to our clients, our customers, or, like, our friends, colleagues, whatever it might be, this is going to be on how to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I could tell you right now, Roman, right first thing when he goes to the gym, we're not talking pre-workout poop. We're not talking warm-up. He goes straight to the bar. He benches 225 for reps. And I've seen this happen on numerous occasions. Roman, why do you do that?
For funsies, just because I can.
Gosh, I miss what you said. I miss hearing you in the office saying funsies, dude. I just say that to myself because we haven't seen each other in person in like 4 months. But I almost got a tear in my eye.
Shins and grins.
Shins and grins. Yes. Don't mind the phone in the background, guys. That's just business.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot to turn it down. Oh my God. Anywho, so we're gonna jump right in. What is a warm-up? I think we've clarified our stance on a warm-up, but for me, I like to start general. So getting the body warm. There's many ways that you can do this. Some people prefer aerobic equipment, the treadmill, the elliptical. the stair climber, the Versa climber. I know it's nonstop.
I think I have a feeling who that is too.
Yeah, I think we both do. So some people like to spend 5-10 minutes like generally warming up. Always make sure you start slower, whether you want to get into like a brisk jog. By the time you finish, you're gonna do 5 minutes. Start off on a walk first. I like to do a little bit of like dynamic movement if I feel the need to warm up on cardio equipment. I usually don't use like aerobic exercise equipment at all. I would prefer to just walk outside at this point. Give me that vitamin D, and then it's just like a more enjoyable or pleasurable experience for me.
Do you usually ever walk to the gym? I forgot to. I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but how far is your gym? Is it walking distance?
Yeah, it's like a 10-minute walk. I always walk.
Yeah, so just right there, like you doing that 10-minute walk, if it's like a pretty decent brisk walk,
yeah.
Like by the time you get there, like, is there a need for that aerobic equipment? Like, and that's why I'm glad you kind of mentioned it, because I was like the same way when I used to, Sam and I, when we were at our condo, we had a gym in our backyard pretty much, and it'd take like 5 to 7 minutes to walk there.
Yeah.
And I have the same feeling about what Roman just said. But carry on about the dynamic and what you're talking about. Sorry, I just want to include that a little bit.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So like when we talk about mistakes that we've made in the past, I used to be so big about going in and you had to run and you had to break a sweat.
Yep.
Because like that's what, like I always read, like make sure that you're breaking a sweat. And I still think it's like a good recommendation from a general warm up perspective, because once you start to break a sweat, your core body temperature generally rises above like whatever it's like homeostatic temperature is, like approximately 98.6 degrees, and your body's like quite literally trying to cool itself down. So when you're like warming up the tissues or like the whole body, you're creating like various enzymatic processes throughout your muscle cells, your joints, your ligaments, and it allows them to glide over each other a little bit smoother. It allows the muscles to be a little bit less of like that like tightness that people talk about. So warming up is very, very crucial. So I used to go into the gym and just be like, I'm going to run the fastest mile I can run. So I try and run like a sub 6 minute mile. And it would just like, sometimes it'd be like, oh, I'm fine. Like I did like, 6:30, 6:40, whatever. Like, I'll take it. Other times it'd be like 5:50 or whatever. And I'd be like, I'm kind of gassed.
And you lift right after?
And I lift right after. I'd go into like squats where I would do like, I would freaking superset, like, it was in a period where I thought, like, plyometrics was everything. So I'd superset, like, jump squats with, like, 135 pounds. Like, that's a lot to do jump squats. And then I would superset that with box jumps, which I got up to, like, 46 inches, like, something ridiculous. like, they were, like, up here, and I was doing, like, box jumps, and I had, like, plates stacked up and stuff like that. People would be like, stay the hell away from that guy. Like, people were legitimately afraid of me. Because I was just
are you just taller than 46 inches? Is that what you just claimed?
Barely. Barely. No,
but people would stare at you, you said?
Yeah, people would be like, this kid is an animal. Because, like, the kind of shit I would do is just, like, you wouldn't want to do if you were trying to, like, get big. It's, like, if you're trained – I like did, like, a lot of, like, CrossFit type stuff, but, like, my own version of CrossFit, because I was, like, this big functional, like – this functional fitness person. I was like, oh, we have to be able to run, jump, like do all this, squat. And like, I still believe all that, but I'm like, yeah, it should probably be periodized a little better and need to have like separated, and like resistance exercise training, if that's the number one goal, like you should focus on that first and then like do your like running later on in the day.
And also, I don't think you should be bringing up CrossFit right now, dude. All their sponsors dropped CrossFit.
Dude, it is insane what's going on with CrossFit right now.
I don't even know how. I'm surprised it's a business right now. Everyone's pissed off about it. So.
Yeah. It's crazy that so many athletes like dropped it. Like good for them,
Matthew
because
Cross, and then like Rich Froning said he didn't want to work with CrossFit right now.
Tia Claire Toomey, Katrin, I think Sarah Sigmund's daughter did. Like, man, so many people. Laura Horvath.
We should just get Alex on the next one. Maybe he can just give us a full-on update, because he's the one who's been telling me about all this.
That'd be sweet, yeah. I know a lot of the affiliates were really upset with CrossFit HQ. There were some allegations against their former CEO, Greg Glassman, and he seems like he's a very difficult individual to like just like work with, and like some of the allegations are like pretty They're
he
pretty.
pretty much pushed out communications when he shouldn't have, or
Yeah, but he
and he
like
joked about stuff that he shouldn't have either.
yeah, and there's like some like potential like sexual harassment stuff that's in there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is
So
that what happens when you're rich? You just kind of just go off on like
I know it's like
a power trip?
Isn't it stunning how much we see it in the media?
Yeah, and what was it?
Alarming.
Didn't Tom Hanks just get hit with something like that?
Oh no, I did not hear that.
Yeah,
Wow.
he got hit with sexual harassment like claims or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, you look at someone like Tom Hanks, the guy looks like a freaking angel.
I know.
But you never know.
Guy just had COVID. Now he's like harassing people. Jesus. You hope that like
that's fake.
It's not true or It's hard to say. But so that's the general part. So if you like to use aerobic endurance equipment, like I mentioned, the treadmill, that's totally fine. If not, that's also totally fine. I've actually steered away from it so I can be a little bit more pointed in my general warm-ups. So if I'm doing a lower body warm-up, I'll do a lot of like body weight squats. I'll do a lot of lunges. I'll do a lot of hip hinge movements. I'll do some like joint mobilization drills. I might grab a band and try and like work on like my my adduction or my abduction muscles, especially if I have like a certain degree of soreness, but I still want to get like a lift in. If it's like the soreness is like under control, and I'll say like, okay, as long as I can maintain like this range of motion, et cetera, I'll give myself parameters or principles to go by. So once you get the general part down, then you want to move into more specifics. So that is going to be, let's say it's like a leg day. That's when I'll focus a whole lot more on squats, and I'll actually like start putting a bar on my back. So I'll do just like the empty bar, 10, 20 reps, whatever it might be. And then I'll re-rack the weight. I might do some more like air squats. I might work on like a particular position for like 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it might be. Then I'll start adding on the weight. Okay, we're going to start with like 95 pounds, 135 pounds, whatever it might be. Okay, then we're going to keep going, 225. We're working up to like, let's say like sets of 290. All right, 275. I'll take like a set like of a single, and then I'll be ready. And let's say I was going to do like fives of 290. Then I would like jump into my set. So as you can tell, like I did a bunch of air squats. I did a warm-up set with 135. So like, something like 30 or 40% of what you're going to work on. Weight-wise, and it doesn't have to be super regimented. It just should be something that's like light enough that's not going to tax you. Just because you want to ensure that like the muscles that you want to work are going to be properly working. You're going to be able to like hit the depths that you want to. So like range of motion is there. You want to make sure that the form is there. So I like to be nice and slow and like cautious about my movements, not like overly. But I'm like constantly trying to connect to the muscles, like say like, okay, this is like a quad exercise. Like I'm trying to like get my mind like into my like quadriceps so that it's like an effective exercise for that movement. Then you start like adding on more weight, however you choose to do that. And I'll usually take like 2, 3, 4 warm-up sets before I get into my first working set. So what is a working set? A working set, I like to use what Greg Nuckols talks about. So it's just any set that's within 5 reps to failure. And like the only exception I'd say is when you're in either a resensitization phase or you're in some sort of like a active recovery phase where you're not trying to add that type of a stress. That's when you want to stay like away from that like 5 reps from failure and just work on like developing like the mechanics back, getting the form back. So that's like what that resensitization phase that we've been going through the last 4 weeks, which I need to update folks. So if you've been paying attention, you should have reached out to us and said, hey, where is this? We're working on it in the background. Thanks for your patience.
And then to quick like addition, like Roman's saying, like he's, obviously he's talking about the squat, and as you guys could tell, like that was like part of like the powerlifting series and whatnot. So generally, this is a quick question for you, Roman. Obviously the warm up, then there's a specific side of the warm-up before you get in. Roman mentioned, he's going right into the squat. Obviously, this is like something where, he's planned out and programmed like a squat, like this is like a squat focus workout, and he's doing that first right away. So, to warm up, he's getting something specific that it's going to help him, if it's a hip hinge, trying to loosen out the, lower back with kinks, just to get prepared for the squat. So I wanted to throw that out there, and that's what you're kind of getting at too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, and some other people do have different ways of warming up too before like squatting. What was the name? John Meadows?
Yeah.
Yeah, so John Meadows, this is like a brief like description. He would either do like hamstring curls or quad extensions before he actually did the squat. He actually felt it, because the blood was concentrated there, it would help warm up the muscle faster. So I've done that in the past too. I couldn't tell you really the difference because my setup is pretty much like how Roman's talking about when it's warming up, and then it's specific warm up to like the specific lift itself for the day. So I mean, some people, if some people are benching or squatting, some people might do like some direct machine work. And I don't think they would really count it towards working sets for the total day, but it would help, push blood within those muscles to help activate a little bit more. That's a general statement, Roman. I mean, obviously there's more to it.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up because like John Meadows is actually a fantastic example. So my understanding of why he would do that, like the hamstring curls before he'd squat, is he would get like his knees would be like very tight and cranky. I've heard him say it a lot.
That's all the steroids,
No, just years of.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's done a lot in his short but long life. So like a method that he found that would reduce that like knee pain or like allow him to feel like better so he could squat more effectively was to do hamstring curls. So for whatever reason, he had some type of like a tissue intolerance with like certain loads. So by doing hamstring curls first, which is a single joint exercise, which I usually advise doing compound joint exercises, so multiple joint, like a squat, for example, which technically takes advantage of 3. It's called like I think it's called like the triple extension movement. Like some people will like refer to it as, because like you have mobilization of the ankle, the elbow, the ankle, the knee, and the hip joint. He like self-reported that would make him feel better to make his squats more effective. So if you needed to use something like that, that's perfect. That's just like that's wonderful, because now you're learning the modalities that help you best get into like the frame of mind or be able to make those exercises more effective, because squats aren't end all be all. It might be like way too much fatigue for like the stimulus it gives you. So you might need to like find like a hack squat for like an appropriate like quadricep dominant movement. You might have better luck with a leg press, for example. But if you still like, I love squats, and squats like really fatigue the heck out of me. I think like hack squats or leg press, like in the future, if I like continue to like pursue like this like bodybuilding thing that I'm doing, whatever, then I think those will probably be more effective. But I just simply like enjoy doing squats more. So I'm always trying to find like new ways that I can do them and make them more stimulative to certain muscle groups that I'm targeting, whether it be hip extensors, whether it be like knee flexors or knee extensors, I should say, you name it. So that's like a great example. And then it actually gets me to like one of our like our good buddies, Antoine and I, we were working out the other day, and I wanted to test.
Oh, here you go. Is this part of it?
Yeah. I want to test the hypothesis. So he will often get cranky knees also. So we tried ham curls. I was like, hey, like there's this bodybuilder like John Meadows. He does this thing like with ham curls before he squats. Like we can do it just nice and light, get some blood into the area, see if it helps. It may have helped a little bit. I'd say like maybe only like 10%. He's still like, it still kind of hurts. I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, we got in a couple of like good sets. Like I'm still like just trying to like get used to this weight again. Like let's move on to like some hack squats. I think that could be like, enjoyable for some quad work. He's like, cool, let's do it. Before we did that, I was like, I want to try something out first. Like here's like 10. I put a 10 down because, it's got about like an inch and a half heel. And I made him essentially like splay his legs out at like you'd probably say like a 60-degree angle, and I gave him a 45-pound dumbbell, and I just had him do goblet squats. So that like the theory I was testing is, I think that he actually has like a tissue intolerance, and that's compounded with like years of like psychological training, that like essentially I think that he believes that like anytime his knees go above his toes, he's like, it's like bad for him. I need to correct this. So I'll usually see like slight corrections in his form, because he has like really good, really strong ankle mobility where his knees can track over his toes like quite a bit. But I see him actively, it looks like he's almost fighting against it and trying to get into more hip flexion when he does it. So I was like, hey, like, it's okay to let your knees like move forward, like just do whatever feels natural type deal. But he just has so many years of like ingrained like training, and that like that myth that we've like tried to cover, that he even like if it's like unconscious, I can see him like in his movement patterns. That's what he's trying to do. So one thing that you might test for yourself if you experience this is same test. Try to grab a 10-pound like plate, or it could be a 25-pound plate. I would say don't have it be too much larger than like inch and a half. Like 2 inches is like biggest like max, because like that's what like an Olympic weightlifting shoe would probably like would symbolize, or it would like that's like what it would do. That's the role it would take, the function it would place. And I had him squat down and really drive his knees forward. That was a cue. I said, when you go down, just really drive your knees forward. And when he was doing that, he was allowing for greater flexion of the it's actually dorsiflexion of the ankle. And I think the greater dorsiflexion of his ankle was either affecting the attachments of like the various muscles that go into the knee joint. So the soleus, for example, it could have been the attachments from like the quadricep muscles, vastus lateralis. It could have been the ligaments behind the knee, because he's always talking about like a deep pain behind the knee. So it could have been like ACL, PCL, MCL. It doesn't really matter what it is specifically, because he's gone to surgeons, he's gotten MRIs. They said it looks fine. He's gone to physical therapists. Hasn't had like a great amount of luck. So like we did the set. I was like, hey, another one. So it was like it was like super light for him. You could tell, but like I made it be something that was like, you know, somewhat like taxing, nothing crazy, because I didn't want to like push it too far. And I was just trying to test the hypothesis. I don't want to hurt the guy. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm just trying to see if I can help him out. And you know, I grabbed the dumbbell afterwards. I was like, dude, that was awesome. Like, how'd it feel? He's like, no pain. It was like fine. I'm like, that's awesome, cool. All right, well, we got a good tool in our tool belt now. So it seems like he has some sort of like tissue, ligament, joint intolerance to like a restricted range of motion. I don't know if it's like the physical restriction of range of motion. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know if it's coupled. But I just tested out a hypothesis. It seemed to work from like a pain reduction standpoint. So I was like really stoked. I was like, dude, awesome, cool. All right, let's move on to something else.
That's really, I can't wait to see what comes out of that, because I talked to the same guy Roman's talking about, and he does always kind of bring it up. And you know, if it's a limiting factor, not really so much a limiting factor, because it still seems like he like tries his hardest and whatnot to, you know, kind of push another route if he can't do like one way or the other. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens out of that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But besides the specific warm up, I know we wanted to add that in here as well. That, you know, obviously we talked about the actual workout, because we did go over like, hey, warm up specifically to the training. You know, the next piece is obviously to work out. I don't think we need to talk too much about that, because I mean, we've talked so much about like programming. Obviously this podcast is all about lifting. So depending on what your strategy is on the day, the time of day, whatever the training session looks like, complete that. But the next step then would probably we could probably talk about is a cool down, since we really haven't talked about it too much. We might have mentioned it, but what can we talk about with the cool down? You know, this is a crucial part. because your heart rate's elevated. You want to get in more of a resting state, as well as you don't want to put your body into shock, because your body's like pretty much, you're pumped up, you've got some blood going, but how do you cool down the body itself?
Yeah. The last thing I'd say about like the workout itself is I prefer to stack compound movements, so like multiple joint movements in front of single joint movements. But like I said, if you can find a use case where that makes sense not to, like go for it. From like a bodybuilding standpoint, you may need to have like a specialization phase where you focus on like biceps before back. So if that's the case, like do your curls, do your like your single joint elbow flexor movements before you do your back movements, so that you can bring up that lagging body part. But I prefer to do compound or multi-joint movements before single joint. But once again, there's a caveat. So the cool down is really important. And I don't think it's as important as, it's not important for the reasons people think it is. I think some people think like, this is helping me recover. I'm recovering. No, it is not helping you recover. You know what helps you recover? Sleep, proper nutrition, making sure you hit like, certain protein requirements, making sure that, you're getting like, proper dietary fat, etc. Stress management is massive. So what the cool down or like stretching or like foam rolling after a workout is good for is actually reduction in DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So that is massive. If you experience like major DOMS, which sometimes like after a heavy like quad or like squat session, like it's hard for me to walk downstairs. It's hard for me to walk upstairs. Yeah. Antoine just gave us a beautiful demonstration of some various exercise drills that we can perform. So I'll admit, I'll be the first person to admit, I've like just walked out of the gym before and been like, that was awesome. Like I'm going on to my next like, activity. What else am I going to do? Like dinner or whatever. But whenever you can, a cool down is super important. So you just essentially want to like slow the body down, slow the heart rate down. Like some people really appreciate doing breathing, and that helps them get like focused and centered. That tackles that stress management aspect, because you just like stress the heck out of your body, which is really good. That's a good inflammatory response, because your body, as long as you provide it like the proper components after the fact, nutrition, sleep, stress management, it's going to have a favorable impact. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you bigger. It's going to make you more mentally resilient, whatever it might be. It could be a combination of all of those things. So one thing that I like to do is just kind of like, slow things down. I might just go into like a back room, like I maybe have like a more quiet space or whatnot. And I'll just start like, going through some like mobilization drills. I might just like test like ankle mobility. If it was like a leg workout, I might get into like some like light body weight lunges if it's body weight. If it's lower body, if it's upper body, I might just like kind of like stretch out the pec muscle. Nothing crazy, but just like bring it through like certain ranges of motion. If it's shoulders, like might do some like shoulder drills, like just swinging the arms, like just bringing my like overall, like trying to bring my core body temperature down, bring my breathing down, my heart rate down, because I might be gassed by the end of the workout. I might be like kind of stressed for time, whatever it might be. So I might be saying like, okay, these last like 3-4 sets, like I really got to go boom, 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 boom. Like I can't take the rest periods that I want to. It's because I might have like some other like prior commitment.
What if you want to keep the pump going for the rest of the day?
That's where anabolics come in.
You just pumped all that. You're like, dude, heck yeah, I'm gonna go back to work and I'm gonna crush it.
You just like just bring your dumbbells with you and like your like carbohydrate replacement drink. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't think you can keep a pump going for too long.
You probably pump out.
Yeah, your muscles end up just pumping out those those lactates and all those different like those goodies like pretty quickly, which is kind of a bummer because it's nice to be like, yeah, look, I'm all freaking like pumped up, I'm all like jacked up, and then you're just like, you feel like deflated like 30 to 60 minutes later, like, whatever. So there's a couple things you can do. Stretching seems to have a really good impact on delayed onset muscle soreness. The Golgi tendon of the muscle That's like an aspect of muscle physiology. Apparently, it experiences a relaxation signal after approximately 7 seconds. That's going to be different per person. But people always say
it was
like
30 seconds for some reason.
So that's actually like the generalized recommendation. I would say try to hold a stretch for like 20 seconds. There's no real like harm in it, but like the people that hold stretches for like minute plus, there's actually I don't know if there's like research that backs this or this is like more theoretical, but like the idea behind why you wouldn't want to do that is there's like neural inhibition of muscles, I believe, after 60 seconds. This is like totally just like theoretical because, you know, each person's going to be a little different, but you might feel like where you're like having trouble connecting to that muscle and like feeling a stretch if you hold it for more than 60 seconds. Like you totally test it to see if we're like full BS or if like there's something there. But I would say in general, like if you hold a stretch for like 20 to 30 seconds, that's probably fine. Then you can switch to the other side. And you can always do like multiple rounds. So that's what I'd recommend. If you wanted to do like hold a stretch for like, let's say you have a goal of holding a stretch, working up to 2 minutes. Okay, then do like, you know, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and do like 2 or 3 rounds of that. And then like work up to that where you feel like, you know, comfortable, because stretching does like hurt in a way. It shouldn't be a stabby pain, but it's like it's just like a stretching pain. It feels like you're quite literally like stretching the muscle, and it's a form of discomfort, I would say, but it's really beneficial for reduction of delayed onset muscle soreness. For whatever reason, like the different signals you're sending to a muscle after a workout, you're essentially saying, I don't know. I don't really know what it is. You're communicating signals to the muscles that they need to relax sooner. And I think that like that relaxation, I think it like either like funnels out different metabolites out of the muscles, or it creates a quicker turnaround for let's say like myoblasts or like the various like cellular components that are responsible for restructuring muscle fibers as well as like rebuilding muscle fibers, which are key components. So stretching is really important. If you prefer foam rolling, you can foam roll, and apparently, like according to research, if you do both, it has a slight edge in benefit over just doing one or the other. It's not huge, but it's a slight edge in creating a greater range of motion. So I've read a couple of papers where they typically will indicate that like stretching is good for like creating increased range of motion. Like let's say this bar graph, foam rolls about as good, and then if you do both, it's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Little bit more range of motion. So if you're doing it for range of motion training, because you're doing like Olympic weightlifting, you need to get into like deep dorsiflexion with the knee joint, so that your knees are able to track like far over your toes, so you can get into like a nice deep upright clean. That's what I do. I'd probably do a combination of both stretching and foam rolling.
No, that's awesome. I like it. Yeah, because exactly what I was saying kind of in the beginning of the cool down. Like, you know, obviously you've worked out, you got the pump, you need to, you know, get the body getting back to normal. You don't want to walk out of there, you know, still sweating and breathing heavy. Obviously, if you have prior business needs or pleasure needs afterwards, festivities, I should say, not festivals. You could just kind of, you know, wind down and get to that next part of your life and whatnot without, harming your body. Don't be like Roman and rush out of the gym all the time.
I got a bacchanalia to go to.
But no, I like it. You know, like this is a good one because we talked about, like, obviously we've talked about programming. So getting before the gym, you want to have the program set up. You want to warm up. You want to, you know, dynamic stretching / specific training to either like, specific lift, specific training day, all that good stuff. The actual training modality itself in the system before, you know, or after the warm up. And then the cool down, which is going to be beneficial for everybody that's lifting. Pretty much grab that body temperature, try to bring it back to normal, your breathing, your heart rate, all that good stuff, to get that body recovering for that next session, and kind of get your mindset right for the next thing as well. So anything else you want to add, Roman?
That's it. That's really good. I think we covered it. So hopefully that helps you folks know where our stance is and how to work out, and hopefully we're able to level your game up. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. You can always DM us on Instagram at RomanLong1031, at Antoine Coletta, and at the Gainz Podcast. You can, what else do we say? Subscribe to the channel if you like it. Like the video if you're on YouTube's, and go forth and lift heavy, my friends.
Heck yeah, buddy. Well, yeah, see you later. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.